Today, I want to talk to you about living a perfect life and how chasing after that is one of the biggest problems people face these days. Stay tuned to learn more. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Growth Philosophy Podcast, a bite-sized weekly podcast focused on empowering you to think better and upgrade your life. And I'm your host, Salik. So let's talk about living the perfect life. One of the biggest problems these days is stress caused by mass media, mainly social media. People see people like the Kardashians on TV and other celebs and influencers on social media platforms like Instagram with their lavish lifestyle and beautiful houses and decadent food and so on, and get stressed about not living a life like that. That becomes the epitome of the perfect life. But here's the thing that no one sees: the reality. Most of those Instagram photos that you see are highly curated and can even take hours to take. I saw this documentary once about a day in the life of a social media influencer. This girl, she had millions of followers, and she literally spent half the day to prepare for just one photo to post on Instagram. Just one photograph took nearly half the day. By the way, if it sounds like I'm negatively judging her, I am not. If anything, I'm fascinated by how social media influencers like that make a living. There are lots of interesting people like that out there. So it's very interesting for me, and absolutely no judgments whatsoever. That's her job after all. That's how she makes a living. So in that sense, she's very good at what she does. So good for her. But that does highlight an important fact. The fact that for most of these influencers and celebrities that you see with their posts about living the high life, it is their job, their profession. They are doing what they're doing to create a buzz and get more attention and followers. It's work for them. It's a lot like reality TV, just that you don't get to see what happens behind the scenes. What you see on mass media is a mirage. It's mostly made up and never the whole story. What is shown on these social media platforms is highly curated and as such far from the whole reality. So getting stressed about living a life like that is an exercise in futility. You know how this works, by the way. Think about your own social media posts. Do you post only the best and the most interesting and most noteworthy things, or do you post the negative and the bad and the ugly parts of your life? We all have them. Ups and downs are part of our life after all. But what we post on social media are nearly always only the ups. Rarely is there anything about the downs, and for good reason. We don't like seeing or talking about the negative parts of our lives. It's private. So you know just how curated and selective a social media feed can be. Only the most noteworthy stuff are posted there, and as such, that's never the whole story. So getting disappointed over not having what others have is not a good way to live. And it most certainly does not help create a good life. When you get yourself stressed over not having a life that other people have, you are deliberately practicing unhappiness. And that is just not good for you, as I'm sure you will agree. Here's the thing you need to understand. Deciding what your life should be like based on what you see others doing, on what social media influencers post, or what you see the celebrities do, is not a recipe for a good life. Not just that, it most certainly is not an effective recipe for a happy life. There is no such thing as a perfect life. Bumps are just part of living. Recently, I heard this great analogy about life being like a roller coaster. There are ups and downs, and then there are periods when not much happens. The variety is what makes roller coasters so interesting, and life works in the same way. Now, whether you like roller coasters or not, you need to come to terms with the ups and downs of life. I wish a perfect life existed. That would be nice. to have no worries ever, to be happy all the time. But that's just not the reality. So you can either dream about living in this make-believe la-la land, or you can just accept life with all its downs and struggles and discontent. When you do that, you'll realize that all those struggles and challenges actually have a purpose. They were not in vain, because they make you a better and stronger person at the end of the day, and makes life more interesting. Who you are today is a direct result of the struggles and challenges you went through in your life, and you are a better person as a result of them. Stop chasing after things to make yourself happy. Stop comparing your life with others. Stop losing sleep over living the perfect life, because there is no such thing. The life you have now is pretty good, and you are more blessed than you know you are. I did a whole talk about that not long ago, by the way. Check that out if you haven't already. But here's the bottom line. Stop wishing for what people are posting on social media or what you see on mass media, because that's less than half the story. The reality isn't always glamorous or rosy. But that's not a bad thing, because the ups and downs makes our lives meaningful and interesting. They are all a big part of our journey. Don't compare your life with that of others. Enjoy the life you have right now.